Well, welcome back. Thanks for watching another video. So I often get asked a lot from business owners, what's the difference between a payroll company and a PEO? And in this video, I'm going to walk through two payroll companies that I really like and two PEO companies that I really like, as well as another company that kind of serves as both a payroll company and a PEO. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so below. If you have any questions after watching this video, please leave them in the comments below. But at a very high level, a payroll company essentially just manages the payroll for the company. So they process the paychecks, they file the payroll tax returns every quarter and every year, they pay the taxes, right? So they kind of just do the very basics around payroll. A PEO kind of goes one step further. They're essentially your outsourced HR group. So if there's HR matters, right, that are happening in your company, you don't have an HR function, you can kind of work with them. If you need an employee handbook created, you can work with them. Since they work with a lot of different, retirement providers, insurance providers, they often get better rates. So if you want better benefits for your company, working with a PEO might be a better choice for you. But I think the biggest thing is if your company and you have employees in various states, you can get registered in these states immediately, because working with a PEO, they're registered in all 50 states. So once you sign up with that PEO company and you hire someone from New York, for example, and you haven't registered in New York, you don't have to do that. The PEO company is taking care of that for you, and you can just onboard that employee right away. Where if you're working with a payroll company, you're going to have to do the registration yourself. So you're going to have to register in the state of New York. You're going to have to wait to get the unemployment number. And that often kind of takes, 5 days. It could take weeks. It could take months to get that number. And I say months because we're kind of dealing with an issue right now where one of the companies that we work with, it's taken them, I think, at least 4 months to get an unemployment number from the state, and they still haven't gotten it. And they're working with a payroll company. So this is some things to kind of consider, but in this video, I'm going to walk through two good examples of a payroll company that you should consider if you're a small business, two PEO companies, and then one that's kind of like a hybrid between the two. Thanks again for watching. All right, so as a follow-up here, so here is the first payroll company, and I have to say this is by far my favorite. It's called Gusto. They've been around for many years, and one of the reasons why I like them is the platform. It's so easy that the user interface, onboarding employees, paying employees, adding bonuses. It's very easy to use, as well as, your employees kind of using it themselves, trying to pull reports, pull W-2s and stuff. They really make it easy. So I'd say 90% of the companies that we work with use Gusto. Again, this is a payroll provider. They're not a PEO. Now they do offer, you can see here, workers' comp, time and attendance, right? HR, helping onboarding, hiring. But again, if there's an HR issue, they're not going to help you with that, right? If there's an employee, argument, conflict or something, there's no one from their team that can kind of help you out. They do offer benefits, but it's more of they kind of partner with other third parties. So they themselves don't offer the benefit, as opposed to a PEO. Like I said earlier, they're going to get you better rates. Here, they just have integrations that kind of automate and kind of connect to other providers out there. The system itself, Gusto, kind of integrates with QuickBooks, right? So if you're using QuickBooks Online, whenever you process payroll through here, it's going to sync over to QuickBooks. So on the accounting side of things, they make it very easy. The pricing, right? So it's very black and white, right? There's no guesstimate of how much it's going to cost you. And I think it's pretty reasonable on what they're charging as well. So even for a simple plan, right? W-2s, 1099s, it's $40 a month plus $6 per employee. And that's it, right? There's no, other stuff that they're going to add on and charge you later. What is nice is, because you're really being charged for the W-2 and employees, what's nice is the 1099s are free. So if you're paying contractors, right, we recommend that you use one of these platforms. And, you pay them through the Gusto, for example, and then at the end of the year, Gusto will prepare and file the 1099s for you. So it's another perk, and they're not going to charge you for that. Obviously what you want to get is the W-2s, the quarterly and annual payroll tax filings, which Gusto will take care of. So it's great. They cater toward the smaller businesses. Now, like I said before, and what we're seeing, what they're slowly kind of getting into is if you incorporate in Illinois, for example, you have one employee or you have 5 employees in Illinois, then you decide to hire someone from Massachusetts, right? You yourself are going to have to go to the Massachusetts labor website and register there yourself, create an account, wait for the unemployment number. And once you get all that information, you'll go back to Gusto and add that in there, which could be a pain, right? You're using your time to kind of do all that. And this is where the PEOs really separate themselves. Now, recently, Gusto has partnered with a third party that makes that process a little easier on your end. It will cost you. It's another cost because you're using like a third party. But it does work. So they're trying to make that process a little tighter and a lot, burdensome on your end. So that's Gusto. That's the first payroll company. The next one I want to call out is SurePayroll. Now you'll see this is Paychex company. Paychex is another payroll provider. They're also a PEO. This is just my preference. I'm not a big fan, but I'm talking here about SurePayroll. And very similar to Gusto, it just works. It's one of those platforms that just works. I think Gusto has a better user interface. It's easier to work, but if you just have like one employee, SurePayroll is a good option. Now, we do have clients that have like a nanny or someone in the household and they need to pay them. SurePayroll has a niche where they kind of work with households or, that have like a nanny that they want to hire. So, and they do a good job with that because there's special tax forms that need to be filed, but also need to be given to the person at the household, to put in their personal tax returns. They offer benefits in HR, but I don't know. I like them. Some of our companies use them. And I'd say, their interface is not as slick as Gusto, but it still kind of works. Now, just staying on this page, there's, you might be asking, wait, QuickBooks offers a payroll service. They do. It's not the best. And if you want to make changes or you forgot to do a filing, they're not going to really help you out. Or if you need to get like past reports and stuff, they're not going to help you out. It's very limited. Now the QuickBooks product itself is great for accounting software. It's really, really good, but we're not big fans of the payroll. Another payroll out there is called ADP, right? ADP used to be, and I think it's still one of the biggest ones out there. For small business, I wouldn't recommend it. Same with like Paychex. If you're a small business, I wouldn't recommend it. Just stick to very simple ones, and the ones that we like is Gusto and SurePayroll. So moving on to PEOs. So PEOs, again, these are companies that are registered in all 50 states. So once you work with them, they're kind of like your HR partner, and you're not going to have to worry about registering in those other states. They're also kind of like your outsourced HR department, right? So if you don't have an HR group, or even if you do, and you have HR matters, they're going to help you. They're there for you. And then with the benefits too, they're going to get better rates, right? Because they're very big and they're going to have better negotiated rates. Where we see companies transition from a payroll company to a PEO is when the payroll count heads up, right? So they started with 5 people, then went to 10. Now they're with 100 employees. That's when then we see that trend kind of move over to like a Justworks. Or maybe they're at 10 people and they're moving on to 15 people, but they have employees in like 5 states, right? And it's just a nightmare to manage all the compliance in those 5 states. Justworks will come in play, or a PEO. So there's a lot of PEOs out there. Justworks I really like. The reason why I like them is the reporting side of things, right? If you want to run a report, say, I want to run like, what's the payroll journal look like? Or I want to find the W-2s for the year, or I want to find these quarterly payroll tax filings. They make it really easy, almost kind of like Gusto, right? Gusto has great reporting. It's super easy to find what you need. And that's what Justworks kind of has. It also integrates with QuickBooks too, which is another plus, but it's just the reporting. It's just so easy. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with other PEO companies, and I've kind of named a couple of them already, where you're trying to find like a basic report, like a W-2, and you can't. There's nowhere to find it, and you have to call the administrative team of those companies to find it. So, again, like I just like Justworks because of that. They're also very, timely. So if you have questions, you reach out to them, they'll help you out. They partner with accountants, which we like. Now the pricing, right? You saw what the pricing was on Gusto to start out. It was like $40 a month plus $6 per employee. When you work with a PEO, because they offer a lot more, it's going to be more costly, right? So instead of $40 a month plus $6 per employee, it could be like $125 a month plus maybe $20 per employee, right? So you're going to be paying more here, but think about it. You just sign up and they do the rest. So that's one of them. The other one out there that we like is Insperity. Again, they kind of offer the same things as Justworks, right? It's just, we've seen them, how they manage and working with other companies out there. And it's one of those ones where it just kind of just works, right? And there's the integration with QuickBooks. The reports are easy to find. And if there's issues, they're there for you, right? They're very responsive. So that's it with the 2 payroll companies and 2 PEO companies that we liked. There's a hybrid out there. It's called Rippling. And they really cater toward the, technology startups. And, we've seen it. We've seen their product and stuff. They're a hybrid, right? So they can act as like a Gusto, or they can kind of act as a Justworks, right? So they can act as a payroll company only or a PEO. If you're using them for just payroll, it's not bad. It works, and the onboarding is pretty impressive. And I think what how they go to market is, when you're onboarding an employee, right, there's a lot of things that you need to do for that employee, right? So you need them to kind of like sign certain forms, but you want to give them a laptop, right? There's a lot of onboarding that happens beyond just the payroll, and you can kind of manage that through Rippling here. And then on the PEO side, we've seen it kind of work. It's just, I don't know if they're there yet. And maybe I'm missing something, but we have seen this product in use. It's okay. But that's another option too. So again, to kind of recap, I'm a huge fan of Gusto, just a really big fan of them. And don't get me wrong, like not every company is perfect. So if you do decide to work with them and you have issues, like, you want to make sure you kind of escalate it, but not all these companies are perfect, right? You're going to find some flaw in them, but if you're just a small business, you want to get started on payroll, Gusto is great. Plus, what they recently started working with is if you have international contractors, now you can pay the international contractors through Gusto. And we've seen this work. We have a couple clients that do it. And they're slowly kind of revamping, or I guess expanding their international presence, meaning that you'll be able to run international payroll. Then there's SurePayroll. This is really good for the nanny household, but also small businesses. PEO, Justworks, really like them. Insperity, very similar to Justworks. And then you got the Rippling. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. And thanks again for watching.